Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Eileen, and this is another Dose of Medicine walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So as we continue the I'm taking 2020 back theme, reminder that, depending on whether or not the state you're in or even the country you're in observes it, this coming Saturday night, Halloween night, is the changeover for daylight savings time. So it's spring forward and fall back. And that is the only way that I can remember it. I remember that from a child. It was, what we used to say. And so as we are falling back, that means that there will be, instead of, waking up at 7, it will feel like 7, but it will actually be 6 o'clock. And I was always kind of curious when people would talk about, oh, will you gain or lose an hour? Frankly, the day never really felt that different, other than the fact that, when I get up and walk in the morning, that it is not pitch dark as opposed to being first light. And I'd still like to think about that whole idea of that hour. What if we were actually gaining an hour at this time? And what if there was that extra bit of time allowed to us? And, which is basically it's extra daylight. And, the door's open because Sam and Luna are outside. So if there's any little bits of background sounds, my apologies. But, it's getting cold up on the mountain, and nights are definitely having a drop in temperature. And the fact that, these temperature drops means that there'll be fewer days that'll be nice enough and warm enough for them to go outside and just kind of sit on the porch and enjoy that last bit of sunlight. So we all kind of adapt in our lives as, we start to sense that coming of the colder times, that coming of winter, that coming of that settling and supposedly quiet time of the year. Everything in nature is dialing down and becoming more quiet. And, oh, hey, Sam. He's just kind of wandering in. And, and for those of you who are, wondering about him and, and thank you for your nice thoughts. He is still comfortable on the medication. The walking is starting to get harder for him, even just going outside and to doing his business. He's moving slower and slower. And the other night, because Sam always sleeps next to me on the bed, and, I was calling him in and he didn't want to come. He kind of looked at me and seemed a little bit sad. And then he went into the other room and laid down. And, so sometimes there are those signs that he's getting ready and he's kind of feeling that. So, for today, it's a good day, or a good enough day. And when the days are no longer good enough, then, we'll say goodbye. But, I appreciate the time that I have with him. And see, that's the whole point, going back to that idea, what if we had another hour? Would you really appreciate it? Would you be able to say, I'm going to make the most of that extra hour, even if it's a little bit of extra sunlight? How can you make the most of it? How can you embrace it? How can you incorporate that into your whole idea of, I am going to make, the absolute most of this last of 2020, and I'm going to claim it for myself, and at least one thing I'm going to claim is that extra time. Would that be something that you would put towards that effort? Or would it just be another, kind of hour to drudge through? And each of us makes that choice. Each of us decides for ourselves what it is that we want to create. And while, yes, there's a lot of things that we have absolutely no control over, which means the things that we can control are that much more precious and that much more special. So as we take a look at what it is that we can do and what we want to do, think about time. Think about the blessing that it is. Think about how precious it is and that it's tremendously unpredictable. none of us know how much time we're going to have. I mean, honestly. And, you know, it for a lot of people, it comes down to them making a conscious choice to say, okay, this has been enough. And if you have anyone in your life who has made that choice, and or if you're struggling it with yourself, please know that it is very, very hard for the people you leave behind. No, they won't be better off without you. And really consider whether or not you want to create a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So, and that is for each person to decide for themselves. I'm not getting into anything about that because that's a whole bag of badgers. Everyone has to make their own decision on that. And it's good to remember how much we take the time we have for granted, how much we may be considering, well, you know, my life is just one day following the next, following the next, following the next. You got an itch, Sam? Okay, we'll give you some medicine and we'll see if we can get rid of that itch. So, the idea that we are, you know, we only have so much time, and that saying that, you know, life is a little dash between two dates on a headstone. And what is it that we want to make in our lives to give that dash meaning? So, okay, let's go on the theory that there is an extra hour. Think about what you want to do with it. Maybe you want to start meditating. And see, it's sort of interesting because it's like, well, you know, you get an extra hour. It's like, well, okay. So if you always say that you don't have time, oh, well, I don't have time to meditate. All right, let's pretend you've got an extra hour. You could put it in there. Maybe it's that, you know, you want to catch up on reading or learn a language or, you know, work on getting fit. You know, I'm working very hard to shift, you know, my health into a good direction, to shift my weight into a good, healthy direction. And I have really, you know, been kind of proud of myself because I've been able to make and stick to some, you know, I mean, they're baby steps, but it is stuff that I'm able to stick to and, you know, feel good about it, to feel empowered about it. And that, you know, everything is going in the direction I would like it to go. So the idea that, okay, you know, you got an extra hour, how about you know, take a walk? I mean, you know, we can still take walks. You know, we may have to have our mask with us, but, you know, you can still take a walk in your neighborhood. Or if it's, you know, if you're in a situation where maybe you have a higher risk, you can, you know, take a walk in your house. You know, you can set a YouTube video that will just be basically like, you know, as if you're walking somewhere. And, you know, it will show the scenery as if, like, you know, you're walking through a park or something. And you can walk through that. And, you know, or you can just get up and, you know, let's say you're watching an hour-long show. At every commercial break, you get up and you walk in place for the duration of the commercials. So there are ways that we can be able to do those things. Oh, and I forgot to turn off the alarm on my phone. Oh, well. So there are ways that we can do things to be able to improve what it is that we have, to build on what it is that we have. And, you know, like I said, pretend that that hour is a whole new hour. And what you want to decide to do with it. Are you going to let other people fill it with their stuff? Oh, well, you know, you've got time. You can do this for me. It's not about that. It's about each and every one of us making a decision and making a choice to do things for ourselves to make us happy. It doesn't mean you're being selfish. It doesn't mean that you're not being there for other people, because more than likely other people get plenty of those other hours. But what if there is a 25th hour of the day? What if there is that opportunity to claim time for yourself? What would you do with it? If you decided that each and every day, 1 hour was going to be yours. Oh, goodness. Hold on. Yes, technology is lovely until it starts interrupting you. Anyway, so if we talk about that idea of a 25th hour, yeah, and you could spend it on yourself, and you could do for yourself, and you could, do things that help you feel better. Because ultimately, you are going to be able to have the opportunity to, help other people. And by making yourself healthier, by making yourself more balanced, by, working to find that peace and have that eye of the storm, honestly, you're going to improve the life of everybody around you. Because, when, you're in a room and somebody walks in and they've got that glow, and people just kind of feel better just by having them around or talking to them because, they just seem so balanced. Well, you would be that person. You would be the one bringing that energy in. And it's important to be able to do that. To say, oh, wow, you've got this. You can do this. So consider that. Consider, what would you do with a 25th hour? And please, focus it on yourself. Focus it on what you need. Because usually when we're scheduling our day, the things we need often come last. They often have to wait until after we've done everything for everybody else. Then we get to whatever little bit of time is left. We get to have that for ourselves. And to have that through the winter time, to have that through, this sort of settling in time, that's important because in the spring, we're being out. It's the whole energy is about, renewal and rebirth. The winter energy is about settling and introspection. And to be able to set the ground for what you want to do. Because if you use that hour, let's say, to start walking in the morning, or to walk in the evening, or to, to learn pottery or whatever, that means that when that extra hour leaves in the spring, when we spring forward, well, then you've already got the habit in. You've already got your pattern established. You've already got it in your muscle memory. So you don't have to consciously take extra time for that. See, this is about gaining the habit. This is about having a little extra chunk of time. Again, we're pretending that you actually do get an extra hour. Having that little extra chunk of time to create the habit, to create the pattern. Because once the pattern is established, it won't matter what the time says. You will automatically make time for that and time for yourself. Yes, 2020 is a dumpster fire and we're not quite done with it yet. You can still create something amazing for yourself. And even if that amazing thing you create is a pattern of behavior that serves you, that supports you, that moves you forward, so that when spring hits and, we spring forward, that you will already have those wonderful new self-affirming and self-promoting habits in place, that they will be absolute reflex by then. It will just be, okay, I'm just going to get up and walk. Or, yeah, I'm going to go work on my watercolors. Or I'm going to, spend an hour playing my musical instrument just because I love it. And, whatever it is you want to do. So consider what you want to do with your 25th hour. Consider what you want to do with that extra bit of time. Because if you do actually have an extra hour, if you do actually gain an hour, shouldn't you do something with it that makes you happy? So, thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comments. You can contact me through the list of contacts that are in the description. I'm on Discord. You can follow me on Twitter. You can connect with me through my Facebook group, Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen. You can reach me at the email address that's in the description. And if you're into Twitch and you would like to be on a live stream with me, I do a live stream 4 nights a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturday nights at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to check that out, great. And if you could follow me on there, I'm moving towards becoming an affiliate, which means that, paid ads and paid subscriptions, and I can monetize. So, I'm really working on developing that channel in that way. So if you could support me in that, that would be awesome. If you like this video here at Medicine Walk, you can like the video, if you would please. Subscribe. That would be really great. And you could also share it or comment. And if there's any topics you would like me to cover, please let me know what those are. So again, thank you for joining me. And as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you. And see you next time. Bye.